What is up, peeps? So season 4 Reloaded has been out for quite some time now, and it came out with a bunch of buffs and nerfs. And what does that mean? Well, that means that the meta has changed. So in today's video, I bring to you guys the greatest and best top 5 meta loadouts to use at the moment, both for long range and for close range. Ladies and gentlemen, let's jump right into the loadouts. So for the first one, we're starting with what I believe is probably the best long-range weapon right now, and that is going to be the Kilo 1-for-1. I'm pretty sure a bunch of you guys have heard about this being the new meta, and I do believe it is. Super easy to control and pretty good TTK. Let's jump into the setup. So again, this is going to be super quick. For the muzzle, we're going to rock with the monolithic suppressor. Next up, with the barrel, we're going to go with the best in damage range, bullet velocity, and recoil control, which is the Singar's ARM 19.8. No laser on this one. For the optic, I do like to run the hollow sight sometimes. But for the Kilo, I just like running the VLK on this one. No stock, no perk, no rear grip. And then for the magazine, remember to run the 50-round mag. It's plenty good to drop 2 people. 60-round mags will just make it significantly slow. So go ahead and run the 50-round mag. Next up, for the underbarrel, commando foregrip is a nice and clean and pretty smooth for this gun. Let's jump into the next one. Next up, we got another Modern Warfare weapon, and that is going to be the M13. This one also just beams players, especially with the class that I'm about to give you guys that not a lot of people run. Let's jump right into the loadout. And I am kind of happy that the second long-range meta loadout is another Modern Warfare weapon. And it's not just because I love Modern Warfare weapons. Like, to be honest, both of these guns are extremely good right now. For the muzzle, we're also going to run with that monolithic suppressor. Next up, for the barrel, we're still going to go with the Tempest Marksman, giving us the best in damage range, bullet velocity, and recoil control. No laser. Now, for the optic is where things change a little bit. Instead of running that VLK, we're going to go all the way to the bottom where it says the PBX Hollow 7. Trust me on this one. This one just feels extremely clean with the M13. And if you do have the blue dot for your hollow, then go ahead and select that. But unfortunately, I don't, so I'm gonna have to select the second one here. No stock, no perk, no rear grip. And then for the magazine, we are again, just because of that other one, we're gonna run the 50-round mag in this one. Now, the underbarrel is gonna be a little bit different. For this one, do not run commando. Trust me, the one that you want for the greatest and best beams you've seen in your entire life, run the Ranger grip on this one. All right, just trust me on this one. Run this letter right here, and it is just gonna feel like the smoothest M13 you have handled in your entire life. Give it a try. Let me know. Next up, let's go into the SMG section. Next up, we had what was the most popular SMG in Warzone, and hint, hint, it is still one of the best weapons in Warzone. The Mark 5. I did change a couple things, so here is a new loadout for it. So now this one got nerfed in the damage department. So again, it's just the TTK reduced just a little bit. But again, this movement class that I'm about to show you guys still has amazing TTK. And like I said at the beginning, its movement is insane. So for the muzzle, we are going to go with the recoil booster still on this one. Next up, for the barrel, we are going to go with the Inerto 342, which is this one for high accurate beams, because everything else is going to be for that speed. Next up, for the optic, I love running the binocular reflector on this one. Again, it's personal choice, but go ahead and give this one a try. You will like it. Next up, for the stock, we're going to go with the first one, the BHF folding, which gives you the speed and the hip fire accuracy and all that kind of nice stuff in it. For the perk number 1, we are going to go with Gung Ho, super important. Next up, perk number 2, we're going to go with Quick for that movement. For the rear grip, we are going to go with the tape grip, which is the one all the way at the bottom here for that movement. For the magazine, go ahead and add both of these. Again, if you guys don't know, both of these have the same exact amount of TTK, but go ahead and select the 64-round mag because you get more ammunition and you also get better hip fire accuracy. And then for the ammunition, we are going to go and select the hollow point on this one, giving us extra limb damage. And then for the underbarrel, if you want that extra recoil control and that extra hip fire, like I have it, I run the carbon foregrip. If you want more movement and you don't care about that recoil control, that you could go ahead and run maybe like the Mark V skeletal, or you can even run the SMLE grip. It is up to you, but again, this is how I run this one. Now let's go into the next one. Next up, we got what was already one of my personal favorites, and it just even rose more to the occasion, which is the Arama Guerra. This Arama Guerra has no recoil, and the TTK is crazy because I know a lot of people have trouble controlling it. So let's jump right into the setup. For the first one, we are still going to run with that recoil booster, giving us a 5 rate. Next up, for the barrel, we are going to go for that recoil control. So it's this one, the Inerto 5.5mm. Again, good beams with this one. For the optic, again, y'all know I love running my monocular reflector, so that is what we're going to run on this one. For the stock, we're going to run the Perfetto standard, which gives you the horizontal recoil, but also the ADS speed. Next up, for the perk number 1, we are going to go with a hard scope. Next up, for perk number 2, we're going to go with quick because we don't want this to be that slow of a gun. Next Next up for the real grip, we're going to go with polymer grip. Again, remember pure beams with this gun. Now for the magazine, it's going to be the first one, the 9mm 60 round mag, best in its class. Next up for the hollow point, we are going to go, for the ammunition, we're going to go with hollow point, giving us that limb damage. And then for the underbarrel, still again with that Carver foregrip. If you think that there is way too much recoil control, you could switch the hard scope for the vital to give you a little bit more extra beams. A little bit extra damage. But again, remember, this is specifically for pure beams. And again, that arma guerra has good GTK, and you are going to love the way this arma guerra feels. And as always, for my top 5 meta loadouts, I always love showing what I believe is the best sniper in its moment. And I still believe it's the HDR. It is the hardest hitting and smoothest. And I don't know, but I do believe the HDR is meta right now. This is the loadout that I'm running. For the muzzle, we are going to go with the monolithic suppressor. Next up for the barrel, we are going to go with the best one in its class, which is going to be the first one, actually, the most damage range. Next up for the laser, we are going to run the tac laser. Do not select any optic on here. I don't want to see anybody running a variable zoom on their HDR. Next up for the stock, super important. Go ahead and select the first one. I still have a bunch of people asking, like, what is my HDR class? Because I feel like people just run other HDR classes that make it extremely slow. But when you run the tac laser and the first stock, and you don't run any variable zoom, it is going to be significantly better. And also, do not run any extra magazine. Run this setup and you will see how good this gun is. And then for the perk 1, you can either select sleight of hand if you want to reload faster, but I do like selecting FMJ because, again, this is kind of like a long range sniper, hard hitting, and FMJ just helps in certain situations. Sometimes you can try to see the dude hiding behind a tree or behind cover or anything like that, and you can shoot him through with FMJ, so it could come in handy quite a bit of the times. And then as far as my secondary goes, because I don't run overkill, I do use the AMP 633 with the agency suppressor, task force, ember sighting point, and the salvo 30 round fast mask with the serpent wrap. One of the other pistols that was upgraded was a Deagle, if you guys don't know. Now, this is the Deagle right here. It is extremely powerful. Like, it did get a huge buff, but just do realize it may not be the best for everybody because you definitely need to hit your shots. And as it is not a fast firing gun, if you miss a couple of those shots, you'll be in trouble. But if you hit him, it will be worth your shot. So you can go ahead and give this a try. This is the best one for just like long range in general. Again, I don't have the akimbo. I don't think the akimbo was the best from what some people were telling me. But again, this is pretty good if you want to try it again. And as far as the perks that I'm running, I am running quick fix, restocked, and amped in all my classes, and as well as Semtex and Stim. Ladies and gentlemen, those are my top 5 meta loadouts with the perks that I'm running and lethal and tactical. Let me know down below in the comments, what are you running? Peace out, everybody. I'll see you all on the next one.